across the motherland, and these include foods unique to certain people and places. This Friday, as Zimbabwe hosted the first regional forum, which focuses on these cultural aspects to do with food and drink, delegates from Zimbabwe and beyond gathered at the official opening ceremony held in the resort city of Victoria Falls. The hosting of this conference is hinged on the leading role of Zimbabwe's First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, who since 2019 has been in an intensive drive to promote gastronomy tourism, as she has traveled to all corners of the country, promoting the cookout competitions which enable participants to focus on traditional dishes. Upon arrival at the venue, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, together with other delegates who include the First Ladies for Serbia and Angola and the United Nations Tourism Secretary General, were taken on a tour led by the Zimbabwean First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. Their first stop was Amai's Kitchen, which had various traditional Zimbabwean foods. A number of countries, namely Angola, Ghana, Botswana, Uganda, Malawi, and Nigeria, were showcasing their cuisines, and the president passed through all their stands. As he addressed the delegates afterwards, President Mnangagwa said the tourism sector is key to Zimbabwe's economic growth, as it is the third largest contributor to the national gross domestic product GDP.
The tourism and hospitality industry is a critical cog to our country's national development agenda and ongoing journey to realize an inclusive and sustainable tourism sector, which leaves no one and no place behind. Tourism is currently the third largest contributor to our country's national gross domestic product and one of the key economic growth factors, having achieved a 34% increase in tourism arrivals last year alone.
The head of state, however, noted concern that despite the global tourism sector now exceeding 90% of its pre-COVID-19 pandemic performance levels, the African continent is putting in less than 5% of those figures.
Globally, a positive trend has been witnessed, with tourism growth now exceeding 90% of its pre-COVID-19 pandemic levels. Regrettably, the African region has been contributing below 5% of global tourism performance. As such, the promotion of products such as gastronomy tourism and others like the Brand Africa initiative will undoubtedly go a long way to enhance Africa as an attractive and competitive destination worldwide.
As he paid homage to the wisdom of the forefathers who understood the symbiotic relationship between food, well-being, and the community, President Mnangagwa noted how the African culture can be utilized to give life to the tourism sector.
Our traditional cuisines are more than mere meals, but an expression of our identity, which is blended with the beauty of our landscapes and seasons. I trust that your palates will enjoy the experience and hope that you will embrace possible linkages to broaden Africa's culinary portfolio. Given that a people's cuisine are a manifestation of their culture, our continent's unique cultural heritage, food and drink, therefore, offers immense opportunities for further expansion of the tourism sector.
The president also spoke on the First Lady's role in the success of this inaugural gastronomy conference.
In the case of Zimbabwe, the gastronomy tourism has grown and remains anchored on grassroots initiatives. Recently, under the leadership of the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, and her teams, in her capacity as the patron of the tourism and hospitality industry, traditional cookout competitions were rolled out in our country's provinces. These culminated in a regional cookout competitions and have seen some of the contestants developing marketable products for both the locally and international markets. Key lessons learned include the fact that the traditional gastronomy cuisines goes beyond preparing food and attracting food enthusiasts. It is also a key driver for the transformation of economies, community empowerment, and a catalyst for cultural branding for socio-economic benefits.
The First Lady, as well as President Mnangagwa, were honored by the United Nations for their role in contributing to gastronomy tourism and were presented with plaques by the United Nations Tourism Secretary General, Mr. Zurab Poloshvili. The president also received 100 scholarships for those who want to study culinary arts. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Meanwhile, the local tourism sector has pledged to leverage on the country's unique cuisines and dishes to promote growth and also contribute more towards the national gross domestic product.
The first UN Tourism Regional Forum on Gastronomy Tourism for Africa kicked off in Victoria Falls this Friday, with players acknowledging the importance of local cuisines in driving growth for the local tourism sector.
Food and drink are really part of that culture. They're actually tourism assets in that particular respect. So when you look at a country like France, for instance, it's popular and known for its food and wine, and it's a top tourist destination. So in that regard, we as a country, as Africa, we also need to work on our food experiences, sharing our cultural heritage insofar as food and beverage is concerned.
We will see more aided arrivals coming into the country out of the interest that's been generated by the cuisine. So we really targeting to become as well like Italy, where everybody knows their pizza. So what are the dishes that we can create that can be known globally?
Government noted that the local tourism sector is on a growth trajectory after the devastating COVID-19 pandemic.
Over the years, and on average, the tourism and hospitality industry is ranked number 3 in the country after mining and agriculture in terms of contribution to the national GDP. However, the first half of 2024, the tourism and hospitality industry, its economic statistics show that this industry has shot to the number 1 position in the first 6 months of the year, having experienced an 83% increase in tourist arrivals.
Matabeleland North Province is grateful for hosting the Culinary School set to be established soon.
We are thrilled and honored to learn of the UN Tourism Gastronomy Academy to be established in our province, and wish to point out that the proposed investment will go a long way in developing the much needed cooking skills.
This inaugural event, co-organized by the UN Tourism, the Basque Culinary Center, and the Zimbabwean government, saw over 400 delegates, among them experts, chefs, and tourism officials from across Africa convening in the resort city. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
A Vice President General retired, Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, is happy with Zimbabwe's diplomatic mission in Paris, France, and its efforts towards strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries in all sectors of the economy. He was speaking after meeting embassy officials in France this Friday.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga continues to make inroads in France, where he met embassy officials to deliberate on the developments that are taking place back home. He mentioned the infrastructure development efforts that are being directed towards improving agriculture as well as health facilities.
We briefed them about the developments back in Zimbabwe. The political that is with Zimbabwe. We are now expecting to get the chairmanship of the Southern African Development Community. We briefed them on the economic developments back at home in terms of our agriculture, mining, energy, tourism. We gave them quite in detail what government is doing and what we expect them as an embassy to be assisting for the investors who will be wanting to come.
Dr. Chiwenga praised the embassy officials for the work they are doing in terms of attracting foreign direct investment to Zimbabwe, considering that MEDEF are set to visit Zimbabwe in October.
The embassy is doing very well, and they had prepared all the teams which were supposed to meet with, and we have a team from MEDEF here, which I met 2 days ago, which is due to come to Zimbabwe to look into the various areas.
Vice President Chiwenga assured embassy officials that government has made tremendous strides in terms of economic development and the introduction of Zimbabwe gold to ensure there is economic stability. Bruce Chawanda, CBC News, Paris.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe injected 50 million United States dollars in the interbank foreign exchange market to ease demand for import requirements and consolidate stability of the Zimbabwe gold ZiG currency.
The move is in line with the features of a structured currency where international reserves are released into the market to sustain foreign currency demand by industry and commerce. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor Dr. John Mushayawanu confirmed that the immediate injection of over 50 million United States dollars into the interbank foreign exchange market, saying it was necessitated by a rise in demand for foreign currency by industry and commerce to source inputs or raw materials.
Over the past few weeks, we have noticed that there had been a slight build-up in the number and value of pipeline invoices that still need to be paid. So today we had to make a major intervention where we sold into the market in excess of 50 million US dollars, so as to clear the backlog and also to deepen the foreign exchange market. You'll be aware that the country has increased the receipts that we are getting from our exports.
The Reserve Bank has expressed satisfaction with the general acceptance of ZiG by the market and reaffirmed a commitment to currency and exchange rate stability in the economy.
I'm sure you have seen the inflation figures for May, which were minus 2.4%, and for June, which were 0.03%. So we would want to maintain that trajectory. So from time to time, as and when required, the central bank will be intervening in the foreign exchange market. But by and large, we want to promote the willing seller, willing buyer arrangement. So as we speak now, there are no outstanding invoices. We have cleared everything. In fact, when we sold the foreign currency to the banks, some of the banks did not even have enough ZiG to buy the foreign currency. So what that means is that we have managed to clear the backlog.
The ZIG is backed by gold and other precious minerals as well as foreign currency reserves. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Economic analysts have welcomed the revision of the growth projections for the manufacturing and tourism sectors in the 2024 midterm budget review.
In the mid-term budget and economic review statement presented in Parliament in Mount Abden this Thursday, the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, revised the growth rate for the manufacturing sector from 1.6% to 2.5%, tourism sector to 12%, and other services subsectors from 4% last year to 4.9% this year. For analysts, the new projections are attainable, but there is a lot of work to be done.
There is some momentum when it comes to infrastructure development, especially road construction, and we do not need to drop the ball. There is momentum, and the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe needs to continue supporting funding road construction.
As we move into 2025 and also NDS number 2, more should be done under housing for us to reach the issue of the 1 million housing units mark by 2025. We have to up the game as we move on into 2025. On roads, a remarkable movement has actually happened.
Meanwhile, small to medium enterprises are already deliberating on how to harness value chains in their sector following revelations in the mid-term budget review that a total of over $6 million United States dollars was disbursed to SMEs by the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank in the first half of the year.
Today we are much on the value chains where SMEs can transform or can transition from the informality to formality, working with corporates and SMEs. So we are geared to take all the cognizance that SMEs can also be benefit on these projects.
The midterm budget and economic review statement provided the macro-fiscal economic outlook and proposed measures to support the positive performance of the economy. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The forthcoming SADC Industrialization Week, which will run from the 28th of July to the 2nd of August, will be an opportunity for Masvingo province to market its vast agriculture and tourism opportunities, given that the province houses more than 50% of the country's water bodies.
Located in the southeastern region of Zimbabwe, Masvingo province has an economy largely centered on agriculture and tourism. The province boasts of more than 50% of water bodies in the country, among them the largest inland dam, Tugwi Mukosi, whose master plan was recently approved, Lake Mutirikwi, and an earmarked Tenderunde Dam. Hence, vast opportunities for investors in the SADC region in irrigation development, given the threats of climate change. Again, in the tourism sector, Masvingo province is home to the Great Zimbabwe Ruins, a World Heritage Site which Zimbabwe draws its name from, Gonare National Park and Chilojo Cliffs, among others. Masvingo Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira, said the upcoming SADC Summit will be an opportunity to market Masvingo's investment opportunities to member states in various sectors of the economy.
Masvingo province is known for its rich agriculture potential in maize production, traditional grains, and also livestock production. The province agricultural sector contributes significantly towards the GDP and provides also employment opportunities for the local population. And SADC industrialization agenda emphasize the development of agriculture as a key for economic growth, with attraction as the Great Zimbabwe National Monument and significant wildlife conservancies like the Gonare Joe and Sari conservancies. The province is also promoting tourism as a key sector, economic factor, which aligns with the SADC strategy to promote tourism as a driver of economic development.
In terms of development, Masvingo province has also seen massive increase in industrialization under the Second Republic through upgrading of lithium giant Bikita minerals, establishment of Mwenezi Marula plant, Zimbabwe Zhongjing smelting plant, Great Zimbabwe Min hydropower station, and the expansion of sugarcane plantations in the Lowveld, among other developments.
There are many projects that we have benefited through the NDS1, which is the Harare Bridge Road, also the upgrading of Bikita minerals, the injection of more than 400 million United States dollar. As Masvingo province, we managed to complete more than 190 projects under devolution funds.
The coming in of President Emmerson Mnangagwa as the SADC chairperson will see Zimbabwe playing a critical role in shaping regional agenda, promoting peace and unity.
Hosting the SADC summit and having the President Mnangagwa as the incoming chair showcases Zimbabwe's leadership role within the regional bloc, and it demonstrates the country's commitment to regional integration, cooperation, and also the solidarity among certain member states.
The SADC summit will run under the theme Promoting Innovation to Unlock Opportunities for Sustained Economic Growth and Development towards an Industrialized SADC. Ms. Martina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
A government has availed 1.2 million United States dollars towards the revamping of water pumps at dams that provide water for Bulawayo.
As Bulawayo water supply dwindles to critical levels, government has chipped in with the tune of 1.2 million United States dollars for the rehabilitation of water infrastructure at Nyankuni and Umzingwane water stations. The revamping of the pumps is very critical towards easing Bulawayo's water challenges.
We received funding in December to the tune of 1.2 million US dollars, which we then have utilized to replace. We have old pumps that are here. We are replacing these pumps to ensure that we have more water being drawn to the city. So it's a very critical dam to stabilizing the city of Bulawayo. So we need to install good potential pumping capacity here in preparation for our rain season.
Bulawayo City Mayor Councillor David Coulthard stressed the need for more funds to be availed towards interlinking of the Mzingwane-Mchabezi pipeline, which has the capacity to sustain Bulawayo in the short term.
We face an absolute crisis in the city at present. Mchabezi still has water. It is sitting at present at 53%. It may be our final solution, but we cannot pump sufficient water from Mchabezi. As wonderful as this pump station is, this pump station cannot pump that water that is coming down and joins here. We have to divert this pipeline that you can see in the river there. It has to come in upstream of this pump station so that these new pumps can then pump that water. My appeal to government through the committee is that the government releases those extra funds so that that diversionary pipeline can be used.
Currently, the pumps are able to pump 125 megaliters of water per day instead of the expected 175 megaliters, amidst fears of the decommissioning of the lower and upper Ncema dams by the end of October. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Analysts say Parliament erred in banning the wearing of scarves bearing national colours in the August House last week, saying the move was not a well-thought decision.
The National Assembly sitting last week saw the Speaker of Parliament, Advocate Jacob Mudenda, ruling against wearing of scarves with national colours, citing precedents set 3 years back. However, constitutional law expert Professor Lavmo Maduku described the decision as strange, questioning if Parliament will tell President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remove the scarf when he visits the August House.
Law only says that Parliament must maintain its dignity and that there must always be respect for the parliamentary framework, which they call a decorum of Parliament. But I think that everyone knows that those are national colors, and it would be very strange in this country if we were to say that having that scarf in Parliament is totally unacceptable. I think it doesn't make sense. It would show that the parliamentarians or the Speaker and his group, they have not yet applied their mind to what is meant by decorum. I think if you say that that is unacceptable, I'm not sure whether the President has gone in without the scarf. I think he has gone in with the scarf. It would then mean that when he gets into Parliament to address Parliament, then he is really placing Parliament in an awkward situation, or he is disrespecting that. So the position of the law is that the law does not go into the nitty-gritties. It simply says there must be decorum of Parliament, there must be dignity of Parliament. It's like saying there must be fairness.
Another legal expert, Mr. Moffat Makuatsine, outlined the legal basis for use of national colors.
In terms of the Constitution regarding national colors, is prescribed under Section 4 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe 2013, which gives us the national flag, the national emblem, the coat of arms, amongst others, which it refers as further to the first schedule of the Constitution. If you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, you will notice that the national flag is not described, but it is portrayed in a picture form. And that picture form has the national colors. And those national colors are the colors that you find on the scarf that is then worn. Of late, we have seen even His Excellency the President has been putting it. And the starting point is he started wearing it in Davos, amongst other heads of states who were putting on scarves of their national colors. So when he came back, from a reasonable perspective, you take it that when he adorns it, it's from a national point and not a party point.
The National Assembly has in the past been rocked by debate over etiquette, particularly on dressing and colors attributed to parties. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
And now revisiting the gastronomy tourism in a new development, the United Nations Tourism is set to construct an African International Academy of Culinary Arts in Victoria Falls in honor of First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's works in championing gastronomy tourism.
Zimbabwe scored a first this Friday by successfully hosting an inaugural United Nations Tourism Regional Forum on Gastronomy for Africa, an event held in Victoria Falls under the patronage of First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. The event, a brainchild of the UN Tourism, was held in honor of Dr. Mnangagwa for a contribution to the promotion of culture and culinary tourism. The forum, which was officially opened by His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa, was attended by other First Ladies, including Serbian First Lady Mrs. Tamara Vučić and Angolan First Lady Mrs. Ana Diaz Lourenço. The prestigious event saw President Emmerson Mnangagwa and the First Lady Amai Mnangagwa being honored by the UN Tourism for spearheading tourism development. An MOU on the initiative to construct Africa International Academy of Culinary Arts in Victoria Falls was also signed. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding will result in the establishment of Africa International Tourism Academy for Culinary Arts in collaboration with the UN Tourism. This initiative aims to develop a strategy to propel African gastronomy onto the global scene. The mother of the nation, who is a gastronomy champion, led President Emmerson Mnangagwa, foreign delegates and other government officials on a tour of a kitchen where they had a feel of different Zimbabwean traditional dishes, including traditional rice, mutakura, mazondo, nopi, mananga, mapfura wine, and mbambaira. President Mnangagwa and the delegates also had an opportunity to taste some of the dishes. Amai Mnangagwa also took her counterparts from Serbia and Angola, the United Nations Tourism Secretary General Zurab Polokashvili, and representatives of other African First Ladies on a tour of a kitchen where they exhibited their culinary skills. The visiting First Ladies exhibited their cooking prowess when they prepared wheat sadza and sadza remunga. Nigeria, Botswana, Malawi, Ghana, and Uganda were among nations that had participants in support of Dr. Mnangagwa's efforts to promote indigenous dishes. They displayed some of the traditional cuisines consumed in their respective countries. A hands-on person and an avid lover of traditional dishes, Dr. Mnangagwa also had a stand where a variety of Zimbabwean traditional dishes were being showcased. Addressing the gathering, the mother of the nation highlighted how her gastronomy journey began and challenged the continent to embrace traditional cuisine to encourage self-sustenance.
My gastronomy journey was driven by passion to improve the livelihoods for families, communities, and in line with the national vision of Zimbabwe of becoming a prosperous and empowered upper middle income society by 2030. In 2019, I came up with the gastronomy tourism concept focusing cookout competitions from district, provincial, and national levels. It is important to highlight that today, Zimbabwe continues with the journey of raising awareness on the significance of our traditional foods with proven medicinal properties and how they are important as immune boosters to our human body systems. In 2021, I pioneered another initiative of the Nanga Gota Itreva program in recognition of the need to preserve our customs and tradition, as this helps in bringing out our national identity and ethics.
UN Tourism Secretary General Zurab Polokashvili highlighted the importance of promoting African gastronomy tourism and the need to make gastronomy an African culture.
I want to acknowledge that the presence of two First Ladies from Serbia and from Angola, it's very important for us. It's very important for promotion and development of African gastronomy, their presence. Thank you, Excellencies. I'm sure that we will do very important projects in Angola and in Serbia. We already had Her Excellency from Serbia, she told me, let's do it in Balkan countries. We are here to promote, and this is big event. It's historical day, it's a historical legacy. What we are starting. Your Excellency, you are not writing history. You already wrote history of African gastronomy and culture. Of course, most important thing we have here is His Excellency President. Dear Excellency, your presence for us, it took this event absolutely another level. We are more motivated, we are more responsible after your visit, and I promise you that we will repeat it. This train will never stop. This is the train starting now to moving it. This train will move everywhere in the world.
The First Lady of Angola, Mrs. Ana Diaz Lourenco, hailed her Zimbabwean counterpart, Amem Mnangagwa, for spearheading an impactful initiative.
We can see the gastronomy for some African countries here, and then I can participate in the open ceremony with the presence of His Excellency President. It is grateful, and this is a great day for us, for Zimbabwe, and for us all as African. I think the First Lady from Zimbabwe can count with me in this challenge to put on high place the traditional food, the local food of Africa.
Representing Rwandan First Lady was the country's Minister of Tourism, Ms. Nelly Mukazaire, who applauded Dr. Mnangagwa for an initiative which is key in fostering tourism in Africa.
This initiative has a great impact in Africa to foster tourism, but through our culture, because food is part of our culture and our identity. So we commend the work that is being done by Her Excellency the First Lady and also all other initiatives. We have good collaboration as a country, but also looking at tourism as a huge opportunity in Africa. We're excited to be part of this initiative.
Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, said there is a remarkable growth in the country's tourism sector. She added that tourism is a vital cog to the economy, and to sustainably grow the sector, gastronomy tourism is of paramount importance. Hosted under the patronage of the First Lady Amai Auxilia Mnangagwa and co-organized with Basque Culinary Center, of Spain, the inaugural Gastronomy Forum aimed to harness the transformative power of gastronomy tourism for the benefit of local communities and territories in the African continent. First Lady Dr. Mnangagwa, who is also the country's tourism patron, introduced a maize traditional cookout competition in 2019. Following its successful implementation, the program has gained popularity, culminating in a first-of-its-kind regional traditional gastronomy tourism festival held in Victoria Falls in 2022 and the UN Gastronomy Tourism of 2024. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
You're watching the main news. Remember, you can get these and more stories on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you can get in touch with us on our social media handles, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin. In business news, Zimbabwe's dairy sector eyes 400 million litres of milk per annum.
And in sport, Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga attends Paris 2024 Olympic Games opening.
We're off to a break. We'll be back with these and more stories in detail shortly. Stay with us.
This is the currency we've been waiting for. A currency that's not just paper and coins, but a symbol of Zimbabwe's rich resources and stability. That's Zimbabwe Gold. This is ZIG. Let's dive into what makes ZIG not just a new currency, but a new beginning for Zimbabwe's economy. ZIG is born out of a blend of traditional and innovative financial wisdom, anchored in gold and precious metals, along with foreign currency reserves. This backing isn't just for show, it's a promise of stability and trust, ensuring that ZIG's value is as solid as the gold it's pegged to. From the bustling markets of Harare to the serene landscapes of rural Zimbabwe, ZIG is set to become the medium of exchange that's both reliable and accessible, with denominations ranging from ZIG 200 to ZIG 1 and even handy coins. It caters to every transaction, big or small. Transitioning to ZIG is a breeze. It's all about inclusivity, ensuring no one is left behind in Zimbabwe's financial renaissance. ZIG doesn't walk alone. It co-circulates with other foreign currencies under Zimbabwe's multi-currency system, enriching our financial landscape. It's a legal tender that not only simplifies transactions, but also restores confidence in our economy, promising a future where stability and growth go hand in hand. So why ZIG? Because it's more than just money. It's a symbol of Zimbabwe's resilience, a step towards an economy where stability is the norm, and every Zimbabwean can look forward to a prosperous future. Welcome to the era of Zimbabwe Gold, where our currency is our pride.
As another year draws to a close, Air Zimbabwe's management and staff thank you for your support.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Upgrade to Compact for $29 per month to get all the Premier League football action.
Today's life is action-packed, hectic, and full of opportunity. You're off to the next big meeting, returning home from an important business trip, or you step out of your bubble to find your next adventure. Whatever your journey, we have a solution. A car for every occasion. be it leisure or business. At Impala Car Rental, for over 15 years, we've been catering for all Zimbabweans from all walks of life, using technology to make travel smarter and more affordable. Where will your road take you? Hit the road whenever, wherever. Impala Car Rental, celebrating 15 years of service excellence.
Zimbabwe, where the sun kisses the earth, lies a world of endless opportunity.
Here, amidst the vibrant colors and lively exchanges, the spirit of abundance lives. Allow yourself the opportunity to connect and innovate. See the future of your business at the 114th edition of the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show.
Filled with ideas, new and radical, that are cultivating prosperity, growing business, innovating for change, and nurturing our future. From agriculture to agribusiness, and from agricultural education to agri-tourism, every sector finds a place to flourish here, where companies unveil their latest innovations and network with current and potential markets. SAS 2024, where the future of all business sectors is being written today.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Government continues to equip the country's diplomats with the necessary knowledge and skills to represent Zimbabwe well and defend national interest when deployed on foreign missions.
The engagement and re-engagement drive is on course, with government emphasizing that national interests are at the core of the initiative. Officially opening a diplomatic training course in Harare this Friday, the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador Albert Chimbindi, said anyone deployed on foreign mission is expected to represent the country well.
We want to equip them with the skills and the mindset to be able to promote, defend, safeguard the interests of Zimbabwe. We are trying to make them understand what the national interest of Zimbabwe is, how effectively they should be able to articulate and defend these interests, and the mechanisms that are there these days in order to enable them to do so. So, in terms of engagement and re-engagement, they also have to understand what we mean by engagement and re-engagement. So I took the opportunity to unpack the two concepts for them to understand how we are going to do it and why we should be doing it.
28 participants, including 2 ambassador designates and foreign mission officers, are undergoing an intensive 3-month training on diplomacy. Patience Nyagado, CBC News, Harare.
We're now crossing over to our Montrose studios in Bulawayo, and joining us from that end is Marilyn Gwenya. Marilyn, good evening.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Joyce and Zain. In our following report, ZANU-PF youths in Matabeleland South Province have added their voice to growing recommendation for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to lead the nation beyond his current term to ensure the fulfillment of Vision 2030.
The ZANU-PF youths, drawn from the length and breadth of Matabeleland South Province this Friday, braved the scorching heat of Umzingwane to meet their standard bearer, the National Secretary for Youth Affairs, Comrade Tinoma Chakaire, to air out their recommendations for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remain in office until Vision 2030 has been achieved.
The first resolution of the province, South, as long I'm in Zimbabwe or outside the borders, is that our president, Comrade Dr. Mnangagwa, the first secretary of the party, ZANU-PF, who's a 2030, even beyond,
ZANU-PF Deputy Secretary for Youth Affairs, Comrade John Paradza, commended the Provincial Youth League for the recommendation in support of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's leadership.
President Mnangagwa ndi president vane muono kunyanya vakatarisa vechidiki. Ndo zvandanzwa pano pama mchita maslogan mchiti 2030 vamwe takanzwa vachiti vanenge vachipo aiwa kuvepo nekutonga zvinhu zviviri zvakasiyana. Isu tiri kuti baba Mnangagwa vanenge vachitonga nokuti ndi president vane muono vari kuti nyika inovakwa nevene vayo.
ZANU-PF Secretary for Youth Affairs, Comrade Tinoma Chakaire, reaffirmed the mass party's stance on youth empowerment and the need to attain Vision 2030.
I want to thank you for the resolutions that you made is Mat South. My resolution namaita Mat South nanzwa chairman vachiti makawirirana kuti muruda kuti vaMnangagwa varambe vachitonga 2030 ndizvo. Saka tinoda kutenda ine resolutions iwayo. Ende ndoda kutenda kuti vaparadza vauya pano vakati aiwa nyaya muri kutaura takutongofambawo nayo toitakura toenda nayo kuvakuru iri zvayakangodaro tonosvika totaurira vakuru kuti hai kuMat South, Your Excellency, they are appreciating your good works, everything that you are doing for our Zimbabwe.
The resolution comes after President Mnangagwa recently announced that he will step down at the end of his second term in 2028 in respect of the Constitution of Zimbabwe and ZANU-PF. However, there have been recommendations from various provinces, including Masvingo Midlands, Matabeleland North and Mashonaland East, for the president to lead the country. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Umzingwane.
The Second Republic's quest to continue empowering civil servants is bearing fruit after over 140 health practitioners graduated from Llewellyn Health Services Training School in Bulawayo this Friday.
147 health practitioners drawn from different security services that include the Zimbabwe National Army, Air Force of Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Republic Police, and Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Services graduated in Bulawayo this Friday after completing 4 different courses that are general nursing, environmental health, traumatology nursing, and medical assistance. Guest of honor at the graduation ceremony, Chief of Staff, Quartermaster Staff, Major General Hlanganani Dube, encouraged the graduates to put their country first in all their duties.
To hear that you are then deserting your organization and your colleagues and your families to the diaspora, as idiwe izozo, we train you to develop our country. Remember the mantra, Nyika inovakwa nevene vayo.
Of the 147 graduates, 95 were males and 52 were females. The Ministry of Health and Childcare continues to collaborate with different stakeholders to train health professionals in the country.
The Air Force of Zimbabwe Commander Air Marshal Jacob Nzwede has rallied his troops to play a role in the national fight against drug and substance abuse.
The Air Force of Zimbabwe shooting competition was held at Cleveland Range in Harare this Friday. In his address, Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe Air Marshal Jacob Nzwede said the fight against drug and substance abuse is a collective responsibility as the scourge is affecting every sphere of Zimbabwe's society.
The threat of misuse of weapons in criminal activities. A worrying concern is the abuse of alcohol, drugs, and other intoxicating substances by individuals armed with service weapons. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, His Excellency Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, recently launched a drug and substance abuse action plan, which recognizes the threat posed by such vices to the moral fabric of the nation.
The shooting competition attracted both uniformed and civilian participants.
Over and above the need to sharpen the shooting skills, we are cognizant that shooting is a sporting discipline which is recognized at national level up to the highest level, the Olympics.
This year's Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe shooting competition was conducted under the theme Enhancing Skills at Arms of the Defense of Our National Sovereignty in Pursuit of Vision 2030. Tarai Maduyu, ZBC News, Harare.
And that's it from myself, Marilyn Gwenya, and the Montrose crew for tonight. Main news continues from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare, and Joyce is on standby. Joyce, it's back to you.
Thank you, Marilyn, and our crew at Montrose Studios in Bulawayo. And back in Harare, we take you straight to the courts, where Harare City Council Town Clerk Hosea Chisango, together with Atkins Mandaza, the Principal Contracts Administrator in the Procurement Management Unit at the local authority, who spent the weekend behind bars awaiting the court's decision on their bail application.
The court is expected to deliver its bail ruling next week Tuesday in the case of Chisango and Mandaza, who are accused of criminal abuse of duty. The state, through an investigating officer from the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, argued that if the GO is admitted to bail, they are most likely going to interfere with witnesses and end up jeopardizing the ongoing investigations. Another argument was that the two might flee the jurisdiction of the court and not stand trial, as they are facing a serious offense which attracts a lengthy custodial sentence if convicted. However, the accused, through their lawyers, argued that bail is a constitutional right, hence they should be released pending trial. The defense further argued that the accused persons are of fixed abode, have no interests beyond the borders, and that they want to clear their names, hence they will stand trial. The presiding magistrate will deliver her ruling next week on Tuesday. Chisango and Mandaza are allegedly involved in a $9.2 million United States street lights deal in which they allegedly connived with 4 other council officials to illegally award a tender to Juluka Endo Joint Venture, a company owned by businessman Moses Mpofu, who is in custody on fraud charges. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The main news takes a breather. We'll be back shortly with business updates.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe announces a new initiative to ensure sufficient local currency in circulation. Starting June 10, swipe for Zig Cash at any HomeLink branch using your debit or credit card. Available in your Zig denominations: 1, 2, 5, and 10 Zig. You can exchange your foreign currency for Zig Cash at the prevailing interbank exchange rate. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is ensuring that adequate Zig Cash is available for all, be it in public transportation, retailers, informal traders, and other key stakeholders. For more information, visit your nearest HomeLink branch. Thank you.
Try the new Dunked All-Star Box. Hope you're ready for the new star of the show. KFC, it's finger-licking good while stocks last.
High-quality alcohol-free red common bricks for sale at affordable prices. Visit Dow Bricks at Chikurubi Prison Farm, Harare. We are also recruiting salespeople.
Zimbabwe will proudly host the 44th Ordinary SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government on August 17, 2024 in Harare. Preceding this landmark event are crucial meetings of SADC senior officials and the Council of Ministers setting the agenda for the summit. ZBC will cover all the action from these preparatory meetings to the summit itself across its TV, radio, and digital platforms. Advertisers are encouraged to seize this significant opportunity to enhance their brand's visibility locally and regionally through tailored advertising packages during the SADC meetings and summit. For more details on advertising opportunities, please contact Mildred on 0712-831-177 or Wilson on 0775-902-040 or email sales@zbc.co.zw.
Welcome back from the break, and thank you for staying with us. We jump straight into our business news, where Zimbabwe's dairy sector is targeting to increase production to 400 million litres per year from the current 133 million litres.
The Zimbabwe Association of Dairy Farmers, which held its 10th annual general meeting in Nyanga this week, is optimistic that the dairy sector will continue to record growth amid the announcement of a new target set at 400 million litres for both table and industrial milk. Chairperson of the association, Dr. Edward Warambwa, believes the table milk target can be achieved in 2 years' time.
We are trying to push our country to become milk sufficient, maybe in 2 years' time now. Since we are almost 100 million, I think by 2 years' time we should have covered around 130 million, which makes our milk sufficient in terms of our table milk.
The presidential silage program has been cited as instrumental in improving milk production.
Let me thank His Excellency the President for the presidential silage program, which is providing the much needed inputs, particularly to the small-scale dairy farmers in the form of seed and fertilizer.
Government is in support of the commitment by dairy farmers to boost milk production.
If we look at the same time last year compared to today, the milk production has grown up by 21%. The rise in the 21% from the dairy sector is caused by a lot of factors. One, genetic improvements. Our dairy farmers are now able to go and invest in good semen and good bulls from the international world. The feed formulation, there's more research and innovation. We want to grow dairy into an export processing industry.
Zimbabwe's current milk demand is at 130 million litres, with more milk needed for industrial production of various byproducts. Kenya's Chivushe, ZBC News, Nyanga.
From business news, we head straight to the arts, where a talented artist from Bulawayo is crafting her own success story by transforming disused glass bottles into stunning pieces of decorative art.
The adage, one man's trash is another man's treasure, is brought to life as Sugoluhle intricately transforms old bottles that are of no use into beautiful pieces of art. Who would have thought that a miner's bottle could turn into a piece with so much value? While men were languishing in boredom during the COVID era, Sugoluhle decided to keep herself busy with designing old bottles, which is something that has become her way of life.
Just after COVID, we are turning trash into treasure, and we're doing bottle art, and we also do paper art on cards. Amambodlela siwagqokisa yonke into, sigqokisa amalembu, ama-beads, iwulu, zonke nje izinto. Iwulu you can majesi amadala lawana alahlwa. uyayiqhaqha nje nxa isibhokoke kakhulu uyayiqhaqha okungabhokokanga khontyana that is enough to cover amambodlela amaningi kakhulu.
Her unique artistry is what she intends to showcase during the upcoming SADC Summit, which will be held in Harare next month. The color and unique designs on the glass bottles intend to tell a story of an African woman who loves her culture and is raring for the world to realize the tapestry and amazing talent that lies awake deep in the hearts of Zimbabweans. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And that's our look at the arts. We go to a break. When we return, we join Lawrence Trusida for sport.
If you're looking for value this winter, head on over to TM Pick n Pay. Our winter warmer winners will have you stocked up for the weekend. TM Pick n Pay. Real value always.
In today's fast-paced world, paying in Zig is not just about exchanging physical cash. It's about tapping into the electronic payment space, where convenience meets technology. On Zimbabwe's stable, safe, sound, and efficient national payment system, experience seamless transactions at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join the future of payments today with Zig. Secure, reliable, effortless. Pay the smart way. Pay with Zig.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Upgrade to Compact for $29 per month to get all the Premier League football action.
Good evening once again, and thank you so much for joining us on Sports News. My name is Lawrence Trusida. We start off in the city of Love, where the 2024 Paris Olympic Games official opening is currently underway in France, and Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga is a part of the proceedings. Let's link up with our reporter Bruce Chawanda, who is in Paris, to give us what's happening on the ground. Good evening, Bruce, and you can go ahead.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. We are broadcasting live from Paris, where the games for the 2024 Olympic Games is set to take place. And as you can see, there are showers that are taking place here, probably giving a blessing to the Olympic Games. And at the moment, it's a few minutes before 9 p.m., but it's not yet dark. And those who did geography can relate to this phenomenon. Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga joined the other heads of state and government at the reception, which was hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron at his palace. And after the reception, they all proceeded to the venue of the official opening of the Olympic Games 2024. And the unique part of this official opening is that it's the first time that the ceremony is taking place in water, not in a closed place or in a dry land. Zimbabwe is being represented by 7 athletes who are participating in different sporting codes. Back to you, studio.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and definitely we're anticipating Zimbabwe to work out and just show the colors of our nation. We move on to the Premier Soccer League, which continues this Saturday with Caps United looking to bounce back to winning ways when they take Basement Boys RNO Movers.
The Green Machine have been struggling for form this season, and their position on the log reflects how badly they have fared this season with just 6 wins in 20 matches. Makepekepe have not won any of their last 4 matches and seek to bounce back this Saturday at Luveve Stadium when they take on log anchors Arenal. Arenal themselves picked up their second win of this season on Wednesday when they shocked Herentals at Rufaro Stadium. The match promises to be a cracker with both teams in desperate need of a victory for various reasons. Sunday sees some exciting matches on the cards as log leaders FC Platinum battle Boogie side Herentals at Mandava Stadium, while second-placed Simba Bora tackle a tricky Wange side at the Colliery, with defending champions Ngezi Platinum Stars travelling to Mutare to face Manika Diamonds. Giants Highlanders host Tel 1 at Baba Fields, while Dynamos welcome Bikita Minerals to Rufaro Stadium. ZPC face Chicken Inn at Nyamunga as Greenfield battle Chegutu Pirates in Chisumbanje, while Yada conclude the day's action with a date against Bulawayo Chiefs.
From the PSL, we move on to the Women Premier Soccer League, where Platinum Royals are hoping to bounce back to winning ways when they take on a struggling Hope Academy at Grisham Grounds in Zvishavane.
With only 4 games left to mark half-season in Zimbabwe Women Premier Soccer League, Platinum Royals are eager to use home advantage when they lock horns with Hope Academy this Saturday. With one thing in mind, which is taking 3 points on Saturday, Platinum Royals head coach Lindiwe Ndlovu is praying that her charges will be at their penetrative best and is approaching the game with caution.
My preparations edu ave pamusoro chaizvo tachigadzirisa mistakes edu last game tichitarisira game ratiri kusangana naro weekend. I'm sure by now zvese tagadzirisa tave ready tashifta focus from our last game takutarisira remusi weSaturday.
This Saturday's matches in the WPSL are sure to provide plenty of fun, drama, excitement, and unexpected turns as Harare City Queens welcome Black Mambas, inform Chapungu Queens take on Correctional Queens in the match of the weekend, while struggling Shisham Gweru date former champions Black Rhinos Queens. Champions Herentals Queens welcome Faith Drive Academy and Conduit Soccer Academy entertain Maningi Youth Academy. On Sunday, MSU Queens clash with Mutare City Queens, while ZRP Harare Queens welcome Highlanders Royals.
From Zvishavane, we move on to Belfast, where it's evenly balanced. The only test match between Zimbabwe and Ireland, as the Zimbabwean openers Prince Mashaure and Joylord Gumbi saw off the final overs of the day as the Chevrons ended the second day on 12 for no loss. Ireland earlier on were dismissed for 250, giving them a 40-run lead in Belfast. Blessing Mzarabani and Tanaka Chivanga took 2-3 wickets each, while Tendai Chatara and Captain Sean Williams had 2 scalps apiece. For the hosts, former Chevrons batsman PJ Moore was the pick of the batters with 74 runs for his adopted nation. The third day continues this Saturday at midday, with the Chevrons looking to build a strong lead and make sure that they get to win that test match that is currently happening in Ireland, the only test between these two sides. So that's all here for you in sports news. It's now time for the weather.
Hello Zimbabwe and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at our satellite image with a bit of cloudy conditions over the southern parts of the country, covering parts of Matabele and south into Masvingo as well as Manicaland. These clouds, however, faded off as the day progressed, as the atmosphere is becoming dry across much of the country, leading to rather warm afternoon conditions. It became cooler towards evening. Tomorrow we're expecting the same. We're expecting mostly sunny skies across much of the atmosphere, with just brief cloudy periods over the eastern highlands because of that southeasterly airflow, which was causing a bit of cloudy conditions as of today. Tomorrow we should be warm by afternoon. We're expecting temperatures mostly in the upper 20s for areas such as Harare and Gweru, and warmer over Bulawayo, Mutare, Kwekwe and Kadoma, mostly in the lower 30s. A minimum of 4 is projected over Gweru, making it rather cold in the morning. Same for Kwekwe and Kadoma, with all in the single digits. Same for Chinoy, we're expecting a minimum of 8. 5 into Lupane with a chance of frost over Marondo, we're expecting a minimum of 2. Maximums are also in the warm category, we're expecting maximums above 25 for most areas. For our holiday resorts, Victoria Falls is a maximum of 34, 32 into Kariba, but a minimum of 3 projected over Nyanga. We're expecting still a slight chance of frost over that area, but our afternoons should be much warmer over Nyanga as well. For our outlook period, that's on Sunday, we're expecting a sunny Sunday across much of the country. Therefore, it should be generally warm and suitable for outdoor activities. So have fun and enjoy the weekend with these sunny conditions. That's all from the Met Department. It's back to the news desk.
Well, that caps tonight's bulletin from the crew behind the scenes and all of us here. Good night.
Good night.